many dangers lurk out at sea. So it's no surprise that there's a dedicated group of people who tirelessly patrol the waters day and night. And to find out what challenges they face at sea, I'm joining them on a 24-hour mission. I'm Wendy, and this is Hidden Hustles. Hi guys, so today I'm here with Taobao and we are currently on a rip, which is kind of like a speedboat, and this episode is exciting because we are going on board a Navy ship. So, how are you excited?
Yeah, I used to do my NS in the Navy and I'm quite excited to go back after 10 years.
Nice. So we'll see you guys on the way there.
Doreen, welcome aboard RSS Dauntless.
Hi, wow, is this considered a big ship?
This is an 80-meter ship. We are one of the smaller ones. This is one of the 8 Independence-class littoral mission vessels.
What does that do? Like what does...
So we patrol the Singapore Straits every day, 24/7.
Right, okay. Cool.
Let me show you around.
Sure, let's go. Before getting to work, Doreen gives me a quick tour around the ship. The RSS Dauntless can fit up to 23 crew members and there's no shortage of things to do. After settling in, I'm ready to begin work for the day. And first up, the gun bay.
Our main gun is mounted up above us and this is where we load the rounds.
How do these rounds get fired?
This station right now is called RFM, Revolving Feed Magazine. And basically the rounds will rotate around and it will go up where it will be at the station where it's ready to fire.
So you'll be here and then you'll be up.
Yes, usually when we are firing, I will be the one upstairs pressing the button and he will be the one over here loading the rounds.
Loading the rounds.
Yes. So firstly, it's very important to hold one hand covering, protecting the base because this is the most sensitive part of the round, called a primer.
Whoa, how heavy?
Rest your shoulders.
This is approximately 12 kg.
12 kg?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, okay. It's actually quite heavy. What kind of damage can these bullets do?
So this is the armor-piercing round, so it will just pierce through the ship, how they will cause some exposure inside. You will lift a bit higher.
Like that?
Yes, you push it in.
Until here, clicks. Yep.
Yes.
Ah, okay. Yeah. How do the rounds get released or fired?
This is the station where they will get your feet up. So this is called a screw feeder hoist, where they will go up.
Does it go once at a time? Or I see there's 3 tunnels, it's like 3...
It's one at a time, but it's really fast.
Okay. So the weapons on this ship can do damage to sea targets and also air targets?
Yes. It depends on the threat level that we will switch our priority.
So this is one of the guns that you operate?
Yes, this is the gun that we operate, so that we can protect ourselves from threats from the outside of the ship. We usually control it remotely, but actually we have also the capability to fire this gun manually. So this thing will come down. This one will be like that.
Oh right, the firing panel is here.
Yes, it will stand here lah. But actually this gun there's a height limit. So if let's say you stand here, you might not be able to see the full...
Am I tall enough?
Then you can see, but if the target is slightly lower, you have to lift the gun up and then the gun will point down, then you can't see it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. What else do you do on sea?
I see, usually my role is lookout, assisting the officer on watch.
Isn't it quite different? Because on one hand you're doing weapons, but at the same time you're also on the lookout for threats that might happen.
Yes, it's pretty different, but ultimately what we are doing is to prevent any danger that comes across the Singapore Strait.
Do you feel like it's difficult to have this wide spectrum of skills, knowledge to work on the ship?
Initially, yes, because before I signed on as a Navy regular, I was studying in outdoor adventure learning in Republic Poly. But the Navy has equipped me with all the skills that I need to serve my purpose and help the ship function properly and safely.
Coming further right, 090. Roger.
So you use this to help you?
Yes.
Ooh. Actually, I can see.
I'm pretty sure the one you're looking at is a container vessel. Those vessels may actually, carry all our loot from Taobao and Lazada. Yeah, those kind of ship.
Is it considered one of the busier waters?
I think at every one point of time, there's about like 1,000 vessels in the Singapore Strait.
Then does it get challenging with weather? Because I saw like earlier on it was a bit foggy as well.
Sometimes it can get hazy, so your visibility kind of gets reduced. So it takes a whole team effort to make sure that the ship is ultimately safe.
So your main role is to really just make sure that Singapore Straits is safe.
So that all vessels that come through, they can enter and leave safely. So Wendy, you can see here, this is Raffles Lighthouse, which is sitting on a little island. It's also known as Pulau Satumi. This is the southernmost of Singapore. It's sort of like when you are on Orchard Road, when you see Ion Orchard, you know where you are at. So it serves as that kind of purpose.
So basically this is an indication that you are reaching Singapore Straits.
Yep, that's right.
Seeing all the hustle and bustle on the bridge, I figured my colleague, Kun Hao, might have some thoughts.
Starboard clear, 080 clear, helm select in commencing.
So how do you feel being back on this ship?
It's a very strange place, but yet very familiar to me also. Yeah, it stuck with me even after 10 years not being on board ship. I definitely spent a lot of days doing lookout duty and stuff like that. So there was a lot of good memories, you know. Like I think it also like built my love for like the sea. You look at these ships and stuff, it just makes sense how important like our sea routes are.
Wow, I didn't know there's such a deep emotional connection.
Okay, laugh at your own time. Okay.
As the day stretches on, we're entering into one of the more difficult phases of patrol, the night watch. Then does it get harder to see at night?
At night, you don't see the vessels, but you will see their lights instead. Perhaps your estimation of how far it is from you may not be as accurate as in the daytime. When we are out at sea, we need to have somebody on the bridge 24/7. So 24 hours round the clock, there's somebody on watch. And then we keep 4 hours on, and then we rest for 8 hours, and we come back on watch again. So it's not a one-person effort, but really it's a team effort to make it happen, to make sure that the ship is safe.
So I just saw a big container ship and I realized it's actually really different navigating the seas in the night versus in the day. So in the day you can actually see the whole layout of the ship, but at night you kind of have to rely on the lights to let you know what's out there. What kind of systems do you maintain here?
We mainly maintain systems like our main engine, our diesel engine. During harbour, we come down here quite a lot. When we are sailing, we don't come down here unless we have to do some minor works and everything.
So I guess it must be quite important, like the role that you do here, especially because it's the engine room. And if anything goes wrong, the ship can't move and can't sail.
Yes. Our main job is to make sure that our engines, our equipments, our components don't give way while we are sailing, or don't just give way in general.
Do you like sports?
Do I like sports? Yeah.
What do you do?
Cannot.
If I'm free and not doing my task book, I like to play games.
Okay.
If someone's free, then yeah, I will like, hey, come on, let's play.
Okay.
I remember playing with CEO once.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He won me.
Okay. Right now, I do feel the ship swing quite a bit. Like, I'm guessing we're in rougher waters?
Yeah, we are in rougher waters. One of the challenges I faced was as helms, the ship was moving way too much. And it was my first time being on waters that rough. So I basically ran down and puked twice on the same watch.
Oh wow.
It was really rough. The
Right.
system was really rough. For such a small ship, it was really rough. So
Right. With that, right, how do you kind of push through to that watch?
The ship do offer seasick pills, so we take that and then we are like quite okay already. Yeah.
Right. Then do you know how to swim?
So before I joined the Navy, I didn't know how to swim, but right now I know how to swim. I'm quite proficient in it, and I also cleared swim off the watch.
Nice. Okay, so even though I can't swim, I can still join the Navy.
They will make sure you know how to swim. They will get you there.
Right.
They'll get you
Okay.
there.
This is your WCS Officer with the noonday report. Ship is on her 4th day of patrol and has travelled 755 nautical miles since leaving Tuas Naval Base. Joke of the day: how do you make a tissue dance? You put a little boogie in it. Ha ha ha.
Now that we've finished our duties, there's a person on board I'm really interested in meeting. The ship chef, Eugene. What's on the menu today?
Today is chicken rice.
Chicken rice. So do you cook like special dishes for the crew on board?
Yes, every day I'll just do a different meal for them. Try to be creative in the cooking so that they won't be bored during the sailing.
Have you been cooking for like a long time?
Yes, I've been cooking for about 30 years.
20 years. And always on board ships?
Yes, always on board ship.
Right. Because I hear from my Navy friends as well that they always talk about the chef and like that's the best part for them when they're on board.
Yes, but mostly when we sailing, they are always miss the local foods.
Ah.
So I specialize in doing local foods for them. They have to boost their morale.
You have 4 meals available a day. So initially when I first came on board ship, I gained quite a bit of weight. Until I told myself I can only eat at most 3 meals. And I think eating really brings people together. And we eat so many meals together. And it's sort of like a milestone. Like you eat today's lunch and then you maybe go and rest and you close up for the next watch. And then meal by meal, you are closer and closer to going home.
Have you ever been on those like longer voyages?
Recently, our ship sailed for a very long journey all the way to Guam for a live missile firing. It's quite an experience because most of the time when we're out at sea, we're only on the Singapore Straits. But we met the US Navy who is participating in the same exercise with us. And at the end of it, we'll celebrate with a cocktail. Yeah, so there's that very nice touch about being in the Navy that regardless of where you are, people are very, I guess it's like a big Navy family in a sense.
How was it like when you first joined the Navy?
Actually, to begin with, I never studied anything maritime related. And initially, it started off as an interest of how in this role, you are 3 things at once. You are like a diplomat, at the same time, you're a soldier, and also a sailor. And then later on, you start to see that your day-to-day, even if it is mundane, even if it is tiring, the hours are very long, you know that you contribute to a very much bigger mission.
This is my grandmom and my gem of a niece.
Oh.
Yeah. I've got 3 nephews, 2 nieces. All of them the love of my lives.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you really love your family.
Yeah. I'm a very family-oriented person.
Is it easy for you then on board this ship?
Obviously, it aches me a little bit to sail away, knowing that I won't be able to see them. But we have Wi-Fi on board, and then sometimes when you go out, so you can get connection or whatever. So whenever I'm not doing my task book, first things first, I'll go contact my parents. How are you? What are you all doing? Make plans for when I return to base, you know? Yeah.
I spent 2 days and 1 night here, and I have realized you don't actually have to have a vast knowledge of maritime. I think a lot of it is you can learn here on board. See a lot of camaraderie here. Their mentality towards their work, it's really like about a whole team.
Hi there, thanks for watching this episode of Hidden Hustles. This is the second time we are producing an episode about jobs out at sea, and we are glad to be able to give you an insight into jobs like this with a rare access. So stay tuned for more exciting episodes of Hidden Hustles as we'll be covering more interesting jobs along the way.